Hello everyone, how are you? I hope you're Lord of the Rings fans because today we will be doing some Lord of the Rings illustration. It's actually inspired by a scene and I really liked it. It's from the Fellowship of the Ring and I hope you like it too. It's from a vintage book. And I think it's very nice and easy. I'm going to show it to you. It's this one. So I think it's a really nice subject and it's very nice. And also you should know that at the 25th of the month of March, it's the International Reading Tolkien Day. So this is what gave me the idea of doing something Lord of the Rings inspired. Okay, so I'm just going to flip my camera around so we can start. Hello, Joe. How are you? Good morning to you. Oh, thank you. It's inspired by the hobbits, you know, those colors. Thanks. Okay, I'm just flipping around. Okay. So here is another sketch of the cliff and the river and the mountains. Okay. And I'm just going to gather all my materials. So here is a jar of water. Here are some of the brushes. Here I have some of the smaller brushes from the Turner set and all my fine line miniature brushes. Since we will be painting in a smaller scale, we need small brushes as well. So the brush from the fine line miniature set will do. And I'm just going to grab some of the new palettes from the Art Supplies. Okay. So I just grabbed some of the new palettes from Zenart. Okay. Hello. How are you? Okay, let's see. Oh, I haven't opened most of these colors, so okay, I won't do this now. Even though this phthalo green and emerald green look really good for what we're painting today, so maybe just going to open them real quick. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It's a really nice color, and this is the emerald green. So as you saw from the reference, we have like this green mountains, and so yeah, a lot of green color basically. And let's see, so this is another palette from Zenart Supplies. So this one has a lot of brown, so I don't think we will be using this one that much. Now let's see this one. Oh, it's inspired from a cover from the Fellowship of the Ring. It's from a vintage cover, so I think you're going to like it. Okay, so we will be using this palette as well. Okay. Okay, so here it is. And the first step is to take some tape and we're going to stretch our paper so it doesn't move around because that can be annoying. Okay. And we're about to start, so like I've said numerous times, it's really good to stretch your paper so it doesn't really move under or, you know, wrinkle under the pressure of water. Okay. And you should do it on all 4 sides. Okay, so now we're good to start. Okay, just moving my camera a little bit closer. Okay. So here we go. So I'm just going to grab my number 5 round squirrel mix brush, and we're going to mix a color for the sky. So the sky in my reference from this vintage book cover is not blue. It's a faded yellow ochre color. So I guess by mixing those 2 shades, the lemon yellow and this cadmium yellow and some white, you should get this color here. So we're going to start with a thin wash of that color. So yeah, don't forget to tell me if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, and what is your favorite character, or if you prefer the movies or the books, and of course, what is your favorite moment? Okay. So this is a really nice color. It really matches our reference. Okay. It's nice. And now we are going to mix some of our greens to paint our mountains. So here are those 2 greens. This one is the emerald green. It's a really nice shade. And we also have the fall green. What is it? And let's mix some of this cadmium here as well. Some cadmium yellow, and we get this really nice shade here. But we also need a more olive green, so we're going to take some burnt umber, some burnt sienna as well here, and we're going to mix it with our emerald green. And here it had some white before, so our color is a bit muted. Yeah, I think I've seen the cartoon. It was a 70s one, and I think it gave me like nightmares when I was a kid, but yeah, it's really good. Okay, so we have some greens here now. And we're going to start with our thin washes, like we always do. I really like how opaque the colors are. If you need them to be more transparent, you can still dilute them with a bit of water. So you get that transparency, but again, that really depends on what you're painting. Okay, so here is like a little stream, so I'm just correcting a little bit my sketch. I'm just trying to avoid the areas where I have like this little houses and bridge. Just trying not to cover that up. But if we do, it's easy to correct, so don't worry about it. Okay. So basically we're just doing some green washes. And we're really careful not to paint on our little houses and details here. Okay. So I've seen some really nice TikToks of this artist who gets some vintage Tolkien books and other kinds of books, and she basically paints around the edges of the book. So paint something that is inspired by it, by a scene of this book. So yeah, I think it's really nice. Okay. So we're just adding some washes in order to know where everything is going to be. So here are like our mountains, and then we're going to add some color for the river as well. And then as it dries, we're going to add our details. So I really like all these green colors. And we're mixing some of the shades together. Okay. And also there are some more mountains at the back. So I'm just using some white watercolor and I'm mixing it with the lightest emerald shade just to mute the color a little bit and give the impression that it's at the background and that it's a little bit muted, far away. That's why the color is a bit faded. Okay. So this is a very easy illustration, as you're about to discover, and we're using colors from a limited palette. So I think it's a very good exercise for beginners to see how they can create like a whole image with just a few colors. And now I'm mixing some white here with our other green in order to mute the color a little bit. Okay. Fine. And now we're going to make some color for our river. Okay. Okay, I really like this shade. It's the turquoise blue, so obviously it's really good for painting the river. Okay, I'm just going to open it, and I'm really excited to see this shade. So I'm just adding some water here. Okay, but it's not exactly the shade I want. We want a more turquoise color. Okay. So we're achieving that by adding a little bit of emerald and a little bit white to lighten up the color. So here it is. It's a really nice turquoise color. Okay. So here is our river. Okay. And now here is the waterfall. So we're just painting some lines, and we'll leave some of the white of the paper to show through here. And then here is where the water drops. And we still are going to leave some areas white just for some reflection. And here, when it dries, we're going to add some white highlights, because I noticed that here is another waterfall that I didn't really notice at first. And now we're about to paint the bridge and the houses. And I think they're going to look really, really nice. So for those who just joined, this is an illustration from the Fellowship of the Ring, from Lord of the Rings. Okay. When it dries, we're going to add some small details again here. And now let's paint the little houses. So for that, I'm going to use with brushes. And I think I'm going to need both the number 1 round brush and later maybe the ringer brush. Okay. But first we're going to mix some colors. So the houses in my reference are mostly Naples yellow and yellow ochre. And they definitely have some browns. Okay. So let's see what colors I have here on my palette. So this is 1, 2. So let's see what these palettes have. Okay. So this is a good shade. We have some yellow ochre that we can add other palette. Okay. And we definitely need some burnt sienna, some burnt umber. Okay, so it's really important to mix your colors before you start painting. I mean, for me, it's always like the first step. I know that some other people like to mix their colors when directly on their paper on canvas, but I think it's better to be prepared, because maybe you haven't selected the right color, it doesn't really match your reference, and then when you're painting watercolors, it's really difficult to correct that if you don't have the right shades from the beginning. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so we have covered this up, but it's fine. We can't correct it. So let's paint the roof. Okay. I'm just starting by giving shape to all these little houses first. And for that, I need a really small brush. So I'm using the number 1 brush from the Final Miniature set. Okay. So yesterday at our Amazon Live, I also did an illustration that is one of Tolkien's very own for his book. So apart from a very skilled storyteller, he was also a very good illustrator as well. And it's really rare to find people with so many talents. Okay. And then this house also has some legs because it stands like in the air. Let's do the rest of the little houses. So I'm just going to move here. So I'm just trying to check my reference in order to get the design of this house right. It's a little bit complicated, but just a little bit. Because it has like all this floors here. So I'm just trying to get it right. But it's not overall, it's not very difficult to copy. So this reminds me of some Japanese illustrations I've seen. Of landscapes and houses, so I just really like it. Okay. So here is another rooftop, and on that are all these floors. So I really like this architecture. Okay, so here is like a small window, and here it also has like a small balcony as well. Okay. And then there is another balcony here. So this is not very like difficult. It just needs a little bit concentration and a small brush. It's a very good exercise if you're a beginner and you want to exercise painting in straight lines. It's a very good exercise for that. And of course you need to be concentrated and have a little bit of patience as well. You don't need to rush this. So yeah, I also really like the illustration for the Hobbit book. I saw one that has some really nice mountains as well. It looked like some kind of map. So that was a really nice illustration. And I also really like this one. Again, it's not like my own idea. It's from a vintage book. But yeah, I really liked it. So here is like another set of stairs. Okay. And here is like another house right here. So later, all these areas that are white, we're going to paint them a really nice yellow ochre. And here at the back, there is another small house. So we're going to sketch that real quick. So yes, I have some small outlines just to guide me or where they are. Okay. Here is another small balcony, so many balconies. Okay. And then we have some small buildings here as well. And here is our bridge. Okay, I'm just taking some burned sienna. And I don't have that much water on my brush because we're painting lines and small details and we don't want to get this messy with too much water. So we have like minimal amount of water. And generally when you're painting details, it's good not to have too much water on your brush. So have that in mind. Okay. And now we have another roof right here. Okay. So do you guys prefer to read books or watch the movies? I haven't really read the books yet, but I think, yeah, I might sometime. Like I said, I've seen some of the art on the covers, and it's really beautiful, especially on the oldest versions. Okay. And here are some. It kind of looks like a cathedral, sort of. Okay. And here is our bridge. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I believe it's really good to pay attention to the details. They really make all the difference. And for that, it's really good to be patient and not to rush things. Okay, so that is our bridge. So here are like some people working that bridge, and we're going to add that detail. So here we have like an empty space, and that's because we're going to paint some small rocks here under the bridge. And I'm going to grab some of the yellow ochre. and add that on top of the bridge. Okay. And a little bit under it. I'm just careful not to touch the area where I just painted so the colors won't bleed into each other. Okay. And now I think, okay, our houses are dry, so we can go back to them and add some finishing touches. Just forgot to paint the roof here. And here as well. This one. And we're going to take some yellow ochre from this palette. And we're going to mix it with a little bit of the burnt umber here, so we can get the color we need for the walls of the houses. So again, I'm doing this with this smaller brush. And here we need to add some of the green as a continuation of the mountains. And here. Okay. And we need some white. Okay, let's see if we can use some of this acrylic marker. So yeah, this is an acrylic marker, and we just added some detail here to give the impression that here is another small waterfall. And here we're just going to paint some small dots to give the impression that there are people walking this bridge. And I'm just going to grab some of my aqua pens, just see if I can add some details to my mountains. Okay, let's see what happens when we add a little bit of water, just to blend them in a little bit. Oh, sorry. We're just adding some small layers of paint here and there just to give a little bit more definition. Okay. Okay, so that was our illustration for today. I hope you have enjoyed watching. So let me show you once again our reference. So here is what we did. And this is our reference from this vintage book cover I saw. And this is what we did. I hope you enjoyed watching. And I'm gonna see you at the next live. Thank you very much. Bye.